As the game boots, you're greeted with how stupid and horrible the controls were designed. Read this message carefully. The first sentence, not a problem. It's letting you know how to hold the Wiimote. Fair enough. The second sentence, absolutely disgusting. Remove all forms of choice, options, and preferences from the Wiimote. Jumping to another game, because the controls did not have to be this way. Take Mario Kart for example. You can use a variety of controllers to enjoy the game. You can use the classic controller, the Wiimote itself, Wiimote with nunchuck, and even the GameCube controller. Whatever you prefer. This wasn't the only game that did this. In fact, there were quite a few. You were able to use different controllers to play the game. Doesn't mean you were able to use all controllers, but you were still able to play using different ones. Wait, was that Fire Emblem? Yeah, it was. You can use different controllers. The classic controller, the GameCube controller, and the Wiimote by itself. A turn-based game has more controller options than a real-time action one. A turn-based game has more controller options than a real-time action one. Now, a controller's design will affect how anyone can play a game. So much so that people will bring their own personal controllers to competitive games or tourneys. I know not everyone knows about competitive gaming or has a long history with playing video games. People do play video games for different reasons, and everybody was new at one point. So I'm going to explain as much as I can. The controller's design. Controllers are different shapes, have different number of buttons, and a different layout. Take the Super Nintendo controller for instance. The layout is even, meaning that the D-pad on the left is basically on the same plane as the buttons A, B, X, Y. Your left hand will easily press any direction on the D-pad, and your right hand will easily press any button on the right. The button's actions should also fit. Going back to Super Mario World, X and Y buttons allow Mario to run and hold things like shells, whereas the B button allows Mario to perform a regular jump, and the A button lets Mario do a spin jump. This makes controlling Mario easy. You can press and hold the Y button and easily press the B button with the joint of your thumb. You can do the same with the X and A buttons. The L and R buttons control the camera, the start button pauses the game, and the select button releases your power-up. Each button has a specific action, with few exceptions. As I said earlier, the run and hold button are the same, but thanks to the controller's layout, the game doesn't require you to perform awkward button combinations or some crazy ritual just to perform actions. By restricting the controls to only the Wiimote, it also greatly restricts your ability and skill to control Samus. First big thing, movement. Metroid Other M is an odd mixture of 2.5 and 3D gameplay. So moving around using a D-pad only lets you move in 45 and 90 degree angles. This becomes annoying because much of the time you will want to run around enemies, as killing them doesn't do much for you. They no longer drop health or ammo, and many rooms don't need to be unlocked by killing them. More on that in a different video. However, because you can't run at full 360 degrees, you'll either run into them, or Samus will perform a dodge, both of which will waste your time. How are you supposed to dodge? Well, instead of there being a dedicated button to dodge, or a rational button combination, you only have the D-pad. While pressing any direction before being hit, Samus will perform a dodge in that direction. Since this game has a lot of fights and monsters roaming about, you'll accidentally perform dodges way too often. Within the clips, you might have noticed that sometimes I go near enemies and spin around. That's because even when I play the game using tactics and being careful, I end up spamming dodges anyway due to the restrictions of the controls. Since moving around and dodging are literally the same button, the game will trigger both dodges and movement. So instead, I play the game as a deranged ape, getting close to my enemies to help encourage more attacks against me to help spam charge shots. That's my attempt to turn horrible, shitty controls into something positive. What's next on the list? First person aiming and observing. Okay. In Metroid Other M, there are plenty of times you will have to go to first person to carry out your objectives, access new areas, defeat enemies, or progress the story. In order to switch to first person perspective, you have to aim the Wiimote at the screen. When you're in first person perspective, you can't move. You can only look around, and it enables the use of missiles if you lock on. Big problem with this. Many fights require you to go first person. Otherwise, you're screwed. You can't defeat them. Remember, this is how you're typically holding a controller a majority of the game. But then, oh shit, an enemy. Oh, I can't hurt him. I have to go first person. Okay, lock onto him, shoot him. Okay, got him. Oh crap, there's another guy? He's hitting me. Gotta move around. The only way to move around, remember, is to not point it at the screen. Okay, now I'm moving around. I'm dodging. All right. Oh, I gotta aim at him now to defeat him. Oh, the other guy. Okay, oh, wait. We gotta go back. They didn't have to make it like this. Once again, I'm not saying it's bad that you can play only using the Wii remote. I'm saying, why in the fuck did they make it where they couldn't just have it some options? You could have just used this. This would have been great. I'm jumping to another game. Yeah, that's right. Metroid Prime Trilogy. In order to play, you need to have the nunchuck. So it doesn't allow you to use different controllers, but it does let you change some of the controller's actions. Big point I'm trying to make here, this game is in a first-person perspective, with the exception of Morph Ball mode. It shows that the Wiimote with the nunchuck can give you a great experience playing in first person. I can easily look around, aim, while also moving at the same time. There's a button to change visors, a button to shoot missiles, a button for my main beam, a button for Morph Ball mode, a button to lock on. Simple button combinations, such as while locked on, you can strafe around a target using a control stick. You can also jump side to side. If you hold down the lock-on button while inputting a direction left or right and pressing the A button, congratulations, you just jump side to side. There's no irrational button combinations, no one button doing 30 things, and no crazy-ass rituals just to perform actions. Thanks to controls that make sense, you won't find yourself making mistakes due to the controls. So instead of having a great experience like Metroid Prime Trilogy, why not say hello with a you have these experiences. Slows down the game, doesn't really add much. interrupting a battle that's supposed to be very fast-paced because it's like, oh, you gotta look at them in order to shoot missiles. In order to defeat them. In order to shoot them. It's so annoying. No, aim at the door. Aim at the door. You know what? That's the next thing. The lock-on feature. And Samus's auto-aim. Generally, the auto-aiming does work. Samus will most likely hit a target. Now, whether or not you want to hit that specific target, well, at least you hit something. Once again, you'll fight groups of enemies often, and many of them are also mobile. As a result, it'll mess you up. Just spam shooting. Spam quick charge shots. Or shoot the wall. That's cool, Samus. Yeah, she'll shoot nothing. I would take the blame if I was the one aiming, but I simply look in a general direction and hope Samus hits the target. Locking on. To shoot missiles, you'll have to lock on. What that means, you'll have to wait a bit before Samus can shoot missiles at a target. So not only do you have to aim the Wiimote at the screen, which takes a bit, you have to aim at your target, lock on by pressing the B button, then once the game states you've locked on, you can now shoot your missile. There's also moments when you're forced into the first-person perspective to carry on a fight. The control is the same. You can't fire a missile until you lock on. Seriously, this guy's on top of me. Let me just shoot him in the face. I know it's a video game, and I take parts like this with a grain of salt, but damn! Basically, you can't fire missiles to save your life, because the game said so. Let's look at a few other games. Metroid Zero Mission. Simple button combination. Metroid 2. Switch with the press of a button. Press again to switch back to beam. Super Metroid. Switch between ammo types with the press of a button. Metroid Prime series. Press of a button. A dedicated button. Metroid Fusion. Simple button combination. Back to Other M. You have this. And this. Such great design. They did try to add to this game. Unfortunately, it falls a bit short. There's this lethal strike and overblast technique, and to pull them off, you either have to stun or stagger your enemy, or jump onto them, depending on the technique. The problem with both of them is that you can get interrupted. Bigger problem is how Samus will jump towards them or onto them. Sometimes Samus will perform this jump and it messes you up. Other times you'll wonder how Samus messed up. You see, other games have rational button combinations or dedicated buttons to perform various actions. By doing so, you won't have to worry about doing something you weren't planning. Just look at this footage. Granted, I'm cheating, but Doomslayer will never perform a glory kill until I input the command. That's what's important. And that's what Other M needed. But as I've already said several times, everything is restricted to the Wiimote. Why force just this? It's neat that you can play only using a Wii remote. I'll give them that. But it's far from ideal. It's horrible. Imagine playing Super Smash Bros. With this. I'm sure there's someone who does and prefers it. It's like, dude, I play using only my eyelashes. That's cool, but not everyone wants to do that. Have options. I say leave it up to the individual on how they want to play your game. I know the Wii's dated, but it'll always be relevant to give your players choice. Thanks for watching. Till next time.